Wait, I like that. Glad you to be here. I'm Joe Esposito. This is what I look like. Sorry. So we're going to talk about the immune system. Perfect time, right? Seasons are changing, leaves are starting to fall, and people are starting to get sick. You're seeing it already. You probably know somebody who already had the cold. Maybe you're running for president. You had the flu or pneumonia. You know, it's possible. So, but they got better in 30 minutes. But I don't have that answer, so I'm not that good. So, but we're going to talk about how the immune system works and what it is, first of all, because a lot of people get confused on what is the immune system. You hear it, build up your immune system. Okay, what am I building up? So the immune system's job is to fight something that's not you, to fight something that's foreign, and not attack self. Self meaning you. Now the reason that's important is if your immune system starts to attack yourself, you have a condition called an autoimmune disease. What would be something like that? What's an example? AIDS, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis. This is when the immune system is attacking self. So the immune system's not doing its job. And that's a dangerous place to be, because how do you stop yourself from attacking yourself? A little confusing. There are ways, but so we have to understand what the immune system is. On the notes I have what the immune system organs are. Your lymph glands, your spleen, your thymus. Okay, anybody know what those are? Years ago when I went to school, a couple hundred years ago, we learned about a gland called the thymus gland. The thymus gland sits underneath your breastbone, your sternum, and it's about that big. And it teaches your cells how to do their job. That's how we learn it. It teaches your T cells how to do their job. And so on the test, you had to write teach T cells how to do their job. And you walked away going, I don't know what that means. Then we were taught as you got older, your thymus gland shriveled up and died, and it didn't have any purpose. Well, guess what? We were wrong. Turns out your thymus gland is working throughout your entire life. Your appendix, we were told years ago your appendix was a vestigial organ. It did nothing, right? Now it turns out your appendix helps fight cancer. And years ago, if you lived in the state of Georgia, there was a silly rule that said if you had abdominal surgery, the doctor should remove your appendix as well, just for fun.
Always in there.
Oh, we don't need it. It's an extra. Throw it away. Guess what? While you're there. That was pretty much what it was. Well, the good news is that law changed. You don't have to have your appendix removed anymore when you have abdominal surgery, because we're finding out that we don't have extra parts. It's a shocker. Tonsils. How many people have had their tonsils taken out aside from me? Okay, my generation. And what they did was, you got a sore throat, take out your tonsils.
But I got ice cream.
But you got, you know, that was the reason. That's how they convinced us, right? About my age, then, aren't you? Ice cream. So what happens is you have an infection. Your thymus glands, your glands in here, if you have swollen glands, those are your lymph glands, your thymus, your tonsils, your spleen. The tonsils would swell up because you had an infection and your body was fighting off the infection. Perfect. Your body was doing exactly what it was supposed to do. And for some reason, we had this brilliant idea of if the glands are swollen, let's just take them out. Well, guess what? You don't have nothing to fight the infection now. You just took out the gatekeeper, so to speak. So now we have a compromised immune system. We're about, you know, if you look at just the organs, what, 20, 25% down from where we should be. Not a good idea. The problem isn't the tonsils. The problem is what's causing the tonsils to become inflamed. And that's what I want to teach you. Every time I do a radio show, every time I do a lecture, every time you come in as a patient, I try to teach you that we're trying to get to the cause of your problems, not treating the symptoms. Swollen glands are a symptom. Swollen tonsils are a symptom. It's not the cause. The cause is your immune organs, your immune cells are not able to fight off the infection internally, so it has to become more clinical. Subclinical means you're not aware of it, clinical means you are. So we want to make it subclinical, if we can, and chances are we can. Okay? So, if the body's attacking itself, what usually happens is the immune system is stressed, and it's attacking pretty much anything it can. And there are certain foods that can actually cause the body to attack itself. Wouldn't that be cool if we could not eat those foods so our immune system stops attacking itself? One of those foods is bread. What's it? Bread. Gluten. If you're using wheat, barley, and rye, there's a protein in there called gluten. Gluten contains two components, gliadin and glutenin, and when they get into the body and they get into the small intestine, that protein looks very similar to the lining of the small intestine. So what happens is your immune system starts attacking and can attack the small intestine because it looks similar. And now the immune system starts to get programmed to attack anything that looks like this. So this is why, one of the many reasons I tell you to not eat gluten. Because some people have a big reaction. And that big reaction you might call celiac disease. Some people have a subclinical reaction. Remember subclinical? You're not aware of it, but it's happening. And that's what most of us have. So if you're eating gluten, you're causing the immune system to attack. And now we've got to calm down the immune system. And the reason is, you only have so many warriors. There's only so many soldiers, so many immune cells, and if they're all busy fighting off something silly like a hamburger bun, and along comes a virus, germ, or bacteria, uh-oh, they're all over here. Viruses go, woohoo! And they start reproducing, get into your cells, and they start replicating in your cells. Now the immune system's going, I don't know where to go. I'm confused. And so the immune system can't do its job. So what I want to teach you is to calm down the immune system. I want you to take the bad stuff out. So you've heard me talk, if you're on the radio, if you listen to 7 Deadly Sins of Nutrition. The 7 foods you want to avoid that can compromise the immune system: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. And collectively you thought one thought. God, that's everything. That's my whole diet: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener. If I didn't eat that, I'd starve. Well, no, you just have to eat other things. And the good news is, I estimate there's about 120,000 other foods you can eat. 120,000 versus 7. That's a good deal, right? If I gave you $120,000, wanted 7 back, no strings attached, would you do it? She said, you better say yes. I hurt you. Of course you would. So I'm going to take away 7 foods, give you 120,000. The difference is you just have to change your mindset as to what those foods are that you eat on a daily basis. And I have my patients do this. Every patient that comes in my office, we give them a form and it says, please write down everything you eat for the next couple of days. Don't change your diet, don't lie. So patients write down what they're eating, and they come in, and if I look at it, I know right away, if I look at 3 days, I know what your whole year looks like. If you wrote down everything you eat, chances are you're eating about 10 foods over and over again. Might be chicken, might be hamburgers, might be waffles, might be coffee. So I'm going to take those 10 foods, let's say, away that you eat over and over again, and replace them with 10 other foods. You're eating 10 foods over and over again anyway. Why not eat good ones instead of bad ones? And the cool part about this is if you're going to help your immune system by taking the stress off the immune system, you're going to save a ton of money. Everyone I've ever dealt with that listens to me, most do, some don't. Everyone that's ever listened to me comes back and says, Doc, at the end of the week I've got this thing in my wallet, and it's money. And I never had that in my wallet before. I don't know what to do with it all. So it's kind of nice. So everybody's going to get a raise. Take-home raise, no taxes, tax-free. So I'm going to give you a tax-free raise. You're going to feel better, live longer probably, lose weight, bowels will improve. Any kids here? But sex life improves. Be careful what I say. On the radio we have a lot of kids that listen. Everything changes. The only thing you're going to miss is that some of those bad foods taste really good. And I know they taste really good. I was normal once. I ate like you 30 years ago. 30 years ago I changed my diet. Everything changed my life. What happened was, I remember I was in college and I woke up one morning and my nose wasn't running. Something was wrong. For the first time in my life I didn't wake up going and I thought, what the heck? So I was studying I have multiple degrees in nutrition. This is my first one, my BS in clinical nutrition. And I remember what the teacher said. They said, write down what you eat and then see how you feel. So I started writing down what I ate. For one day I woke up, my sinuses were clear. Next day I woke up, my sinuses were clear. Next day I woke up, sinuses were running. What? Honey, you can annoy this guy over here. If he starts wising off, you slug him, all right? And so my sinuses were clear. And they were clear again, and then they started running, and I went, uh-oh, something's wrong. And I pulled out the food chart that I started writing down. Guess what? For 2 days, I didn't have any alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. The day before my nose started running, that's what I had. Big pasta meal, probably had some alcohol that day. And I went, no, it can't be. It can't be pasta, I'm Italian. I'm going to get thrown out of the family. So I said, okay, and this is before the whole thing with allergy. We didn't know about gluten, we just knew wheat was an allergen. So I didn't eat gluten for 10 days. We didn't call it gluten back then, we just called it wheat. I didn't eat gluten for 10 days. On the 11th day, gluten, guess what? My sinuses ran again, and I went, can't argue that point anymore. And that's what's cool about this. When I teach you things about health and you do it, you can't argue anymore because I'm right. You can argue with yourself. So I want to teach you the foods that are going to set the sinuses and the immune system into a tizzy. Wheat is not the number one. What do you think the number one food allergen is? Dairy. Exactly. Dairy. You're going to say dairy. Too late. They won over here. They hit the buzzer first. Dairy. Dairy is the number one food allergen. How many people eat dairy every day? Don't raise your hands. How many people eat dairy almost every meal? A lot of you. I know this because I read your diet diaries when you come in. I've been practicing for decades now. And every patient, I have to fill out a diet diary. And it's amazing how many people eat dairy every single meal. And or, number two food allergen is wheat. When I say wheat, that's breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas. Oh, wait a minute. I thought he was talking about white bread. I didn't know that breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas counted. When you put the wheat in your body, the gluten gets in there, the immune system attacks it, causes an inflammatory reaction. And what's cool is this. New research shows that if you put an inflammatory reaction into the body, any type of inflammatory reaction, so maybe it's eating bad, maybe it's you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, causing an inflammatory reaction, maybe you have a head injury, you could have got a concussion years ago and it's still producing an inflammatory reaction. There's cells in the brain that surround the inflammation and it protects them. Microglia they're called, and the microglia surround the inflamed area and protect it until it's healed, and then microglia is supposed to shut off. Well, if the microglia don't shut off, you have this continuous inflammatory reaction, and when the inflammation gets into the body, it changes your brain chemistry. And when you eat food, like what we're serving you here today, see how it all ties together? We're serving you lentils. Lentils are high in amino acids. They're proteins. Stomach breaks proteins into amino acids. The amino acid tryptophan combines with vitamin B6, creates a chemical called 5-HTP, which becomes serotonin. Serotonin is the chemical in your brain that keeps you happy, helps you focus, calms you down. If you have anxiety, depression, ADD, ADHD, chances are you're not either producing or utilizing serotonin properly. So we give you drugs to utilize the little bit of serotonin that you have. What if we just made more serotonin? Because there's a problem with serotonin. It's a neurotransmitter. And the problem with serotonin is this. 5% of the serotonin in your body is used in your brain. 95% of your serotonin is used in your digestive system. So if you only have a little bit of serotonin, your gut wants 95%, your brain only wants 5%, the brain's going to suffer. It's going to get the least amount. And now the brain doesn't produce the serotonin. Serotonin is low. You become depressed. Serotonin becomes melatonin, which helps you sleep. How many people with depression can't sleep? All of them. Because you don't have the precursors. So you have to have this to become this, to become this, to become this, to become this. And if you have inflammation, tryptophan, instead of becoming serotonin, becomes quinolinic acid. Quinolinic acid leads to anxiety and can lead to depression. So not only are you not producing enough serotonin, the serotonin you should be producing is now becoming quinolinic acid, and now we've got a problem. What does that have to do with your immune system? When you're depressed, your immune system becomes depressed. Oh. How cool is that? Now, all of you looked at me and went, I have no idea what you just said in the past 5 minutes. You could have been lying to me, talking Chinese. I had no idea what you just said. We're going to take this, we're going to put it on YouTube. So you can go back and listen to it again, because that 5 minutes I just gave you was more information about anxiety, depression, neurotransmitters, and the immune system than most doctors know. Okay, so you can go back and listen to it again. Okay? So we got to get the immune system functioning normally and not suppressing it or not stimulating it. Then we have autoimmune conditions. So we got to look to things like inflammation. Every disease known to man has an inflammatory component. You name the disease, there's inflammation. Including the inflammation now affecting brain function. So that's a pretty big thing now. And if you're happy, your immune system works better. If you're not happy, your immune system becomes suppressed, more likely to get sick. I just recorded a show this morning, as a matter of fact, on Alzheimer's. And depression is directly linked to Alzheimer's. And the question is, does Alzheimer's cause depression? Does depression cause Alzheimer's? Either way, they both have one thing in common. inflammation. Yes?
When's that going to play?
That one's going to play in about 10 weeks. But we're going to put it on the website. If you go to my website, the shows, the Sunday morning shows, by the way, those are on my website weeks in advance. The Sunday night show is live, so of course we can't put that in advance. We're not that good. So, but that'll be out there. And it's really important because all of you here, myself included, are potential Alzheimer's victims. And what we're doing today is going to have a direct impact on how our brain functions later on. I'm a chiropractor. My job is to make sure the brain is sending messages down the spine, out the nerves, to every cell in the body. So the nerve has to go to your liver, your spleen, your thyroid, your tonsils, if you still have them, your thymus, your kidneys, your gallbladder, earwax. Everything has to have nerves going to it. And if the brain isn't producing the right message, it's not even getting down the spine and out, much less being blocked. It's not even getting there. So you have to have good production of messages and good transmission of messages. As a chiropractor, my job as your doctor is make sure that happens. And I can do my part lining everything up, getting the muscles balanced, getting the stomach and digestive system working. You have to take care of the chemistry. And that's what I'm teaching you, is you have to do this. You don't have an option. Well, you do have an option. Don't do it. And then you suffer the consequences. So we got to keep the immune system calmed down. If we're doing things like wheat and dairy, it's causing an inflammatory reaction. The immune system only has so many soldiers. It can only fight so many wars. And then when you are exposed to viruses, germs, and bacteria, the immune system can't fight it all. And the problem is all diseases have to have the immune system working normally for them not to take over. I don't care, you name the disease, doesn't matter what it is, arthritis, cancer, diabetes, heart disease. It all has to do with the immune system. So the immune system is kind of important. What controls the immune system? The nervous system. That's why as a chiropractor, I'm always looking to people's nervous system to make sure it's not being pinched and working properly. So far, so good. Do you ever wonder why you get sick in the winter? Why do we get sick in the summer? We probably eat worse. Well, I don't know if we eat worse in the summer. But why do we get sick in the summer? One of the reasons is that in the summer, the sunlight is hitting you. And when sunlight, UVB rays come in contact with cholesterol in your skin, we produce something called
D3.
Vitamin D3, exactly. Vitamin D3 is key to making your immune system work. It's also key to help preventing Alzheimer's and cancer. So you need vitamin D3. It's not really a vitamin, it's a hormone, by the way, but you know there. You need vitamin D3. Now, right around now, this time of the year, the sun is hitting the earth on an angle. That's why we have colder weather. And if the sun hits you on an angle, UVB rays can't interact with cholesterol to produce vitamin D3 in your skin. So now's the time of the year we take supplements. Don't take vitamin D2. Vitamin D2 is synthetic. It's more expensive. And the vitamin D3 is about 500 times more effective. Wait a minute. Cheaper. It works better. Why wouldn't you do that? I don't know. Now, there's different sources of vitamin D3. One source is fish oil. Okay. I don't like that source because you run the risk of mercury contamination. And I don't eat animal products, so, but I'm being biased there. But there's a mercury contamination there. The other source is lanolin. Lanolin is sheep wool. Who figured this out? I don't know. What if this sweater has vitamin D in it? Sheep wool. Lanolin. Lanolin is a cream. You can put lanolin oil on your skin. Very nice. So that's another source that you can utilize. And the third source would be from algae, but that's very expensive. Okay? Now, I weigh about 200 pounds. I would suggest for somebody my size, and pretty much everybody in this room, about 5,000 international units a day of vitamin D3. Now, the recommended dose, was it 600, 800?
Yeah.
Not nearly enough. Ain't gonna work. Okay? You gotta understand, we do a minimum requirement of a vitamin or supplement. It's just enough to prevent the disease from happening. Doesn't mean you're gonna prosper with it. It just means you're not gonna, like goiters, for example. We put iodine in salt to prevent the goiters. How many people have thyroid problems? Everybody. Almost everybody I see, anyway. So we're not getting enough iodine, we're getting enough to prevent the goiter, but we're not getting enough to make the thyroid work. Follow? So vitamin D3, I would suggest about 5,000 IUs a day. Next time you get your blood work, get it checked. It's a good idea to check your vitamin D. It's going to be pretty hard to overdose on vitamin D. You have to take a lot. So for example, in the summer, If I'm out in the sun for 20 minutes, I get about 20,000 international units of vitamin D. So you taking 5,000 is not going to have a big impact. Now if I start feeling a little under the weather, if I have been stressed out, then I'll take 10, 20,000 in a day. But here's the secret. It's not just taking it, it's when you take it. I want you to take it with something fatty. Now when I say fatty, olive oil, macadamia nuts, coconut oil, any type of nuts. What? Cheese, we're going to get to that. He's new.
Take more with cheese.
That's right. And it's funny, a lot of times you'll see food fortified with vitamin D. It's almost always vitamin D2. Which makes no sense to me, because it's more expensive. Unless they get it in bulk or something. I don't know. Anyway, so vitamin D3, 5,000 international units, take with something fatty. Because vitamin D3 is fat soluble. It's absorbed with fat. Avocados work well. A salad, put it with that. Okay, so you got to get the vitamin D3 in your body. We got to get fiber in your body. Because the way the bowels work are pretty amazing. You can eat some amazing lentil stew that Lori just made for you, right? Was it amazing?
Yes.
Really cheap, really tasty. Great meal if you want to impress your friends, impress yourself. Okay, people always say, what do you eat? I hear that all the time. What do you eat? In fact, we have a lecture that I did, and it's on my website. Is the new one up? Mary, new one? Mary? The new?
We're working on it.
Okay, it'll be up the next couple of days. I just updated it. And it's free. You can go to my website, type in your email address, I'll send you a link to it. And the title of the lecture is, So, what can I eat? Because everybody says that. I get it, I shouldn't eat this. What can I eat? I'll give you that for free. It's my present. And we talk about what to eat. So I would do something like the lentil stew, make it maybe on a Sunday, and have it several times throughout the week. Or you can put it in your crock pot. It takes a few minutes to make. Turn it on for 8 hours, go out to work, come home, dinner's ready. For a week. Bring it to your friends. They think you're cool. I'll tell you a little secret. And this works great in life. I'm going to go off topic. I went to the radio station, and I got a job at WSB Radio, which is the #1 talk radio station in the world. I work with the best of the best. I work with Clark Howard, Neil Bortz, Herman Cain, Rush Limbaugh, Belinda Skelton. These are people I work with every day. Really excited. Here I come walking and going, I don't know anything about radio. I'm a doctor, right? They bring me on, and I said, so how am I going to get noticed? I go in on Sunday nights, nobody's there. So what I did was this, and this is a great little trick. I want you to try this. When I go into the office, I would bring little snacks with me, healthy snacks, bags of nuts, things like that. And I'd walk around to everybody, and I'd give everybody a little bag of snacks. The janitors, the people answering the phone, everybody got little snacks. Did this for about 2 months. Everywhere I go now, hey, it's Dr. Joe, hey, Dr. Joe, hey, it's Dr. Joe, hey, Dr. Joe, where's the snacks? I've got snacks about little bags of nuts, little bags of snacks. They work great. So when you give people gifts, they like you. What I'm giving you here is bigger than gifts. It's knowledge. And you now can prevent yourself from getting sick. Back to fiber. So we made the lentil stew. Why? Because lentils are high in fiber, and it's going to slowly push the food through your colon. And as we push the food through your colon, you get a slow release of sugars. The sugar now. There's slow release of sugar into your body. If you eat an apple, slow release of sugar. Apple juice, bam, all that sugar is absorbed at once. And I'll explain the different types of sugar in a second. So all that sugar gets absorbed at once, it affects the immune system. I can take a white blood cell, and if it's in a healthy state, it'll kill off about 13 germs before it dies. I can give you a tablespoon of sugar, wait about an hour, and that same white blood cell can kill off 1 germ before it dies. So, based on that statement, I think it's 13 or 14 times, your immune system is now 13 times weaker every time you eat sugar. Wow. That's a pretty heavy-duty statement. And that is in my new book coming out soon. And what's the name of the book, Mary?
Okay, give me. I know this up and down. Prescription for extreme health.
Prescription for extreme health. I did it to Mary because she edited it 1,000 times. So, yes, Prescription for Extreme Health is going to be my new book. Okay, it's coming out in January, SAS. January, Mary? Yes?
Yes.
January? Okay, good. It's coming out in January, and it's awesome. It really is. I have to say that I read it, I don't know how many times, probably as many times as she did, and it really is good. And we talk about fun facts like that. So every time you eat sugar, you're blowing out your immune system. So my immune system's putzing along, doing its thing. I'm taking my vitamin D. I'm eating a lot of fiber, so I slowly push the sugar through my colon so I don't get a rush of sugar. And now suddenly I do something really stupid. I go to a party. And at this party, I'm going to have a pina colada, or I'm going to have a piece of cake, and I'm going to have some cookies. It's the Christmas party. You know, you have to sample everything. And you're thinking to yourself, but this is just one time. It's just a treat. I love that. It's just a treat. And then suddenly, viruses, germs, and bacteria there going, woohoo! All the soldiers are gone. Well, they're dying. Let's go attack. And then you get sick. Watch what happens with the holidays. I promise you it happens every year. It's going to happen again. Halloween's going to come around. And what are you going to do? You're going to buy candy for the kids. And you're going to sample it. You're going to make sure it's good.
Yeah.
You don't want the kids getting sick.
Yeah.
So you're going to try all those chocolate bars and candies and crunchies and everything, and then you're going to give it out to the kids. But suddenly there's not enough kids and you have more candy you know what to do with. You're going to eat the rest. So there goes your immune system. You're sick. Week after Halloween, people start getting sick. Thanksgiving, you start feeling, it's true, right? Start feeling better. Thanksgiving rolls around. You go out, eat yourself silly. I don't know why. But for some reason, we have to stuff ourselves till we puke, and that's holiday. And the week after Thanksgiving, what happens?
Sick.
I get sick again. There you go. Finally start to recover. Christmas comes around. Week after Christmas,
Sick.
barely recovered from Christmas. You go out binge drinking. And the first week of the new year, you watch how many people have colds, flu, and other sickening diseases. Watch it. I'm not making it up. I'm predicting. I'm being a soothsayer. It's going to happen because it happens every year. Don't become part of that. You want to give out something for Halloween? Give out money. Give out raisins. Okay? Or
Then they won't come back.
Little bags of
come
nuts.
back next year. Right? What?
Little bags of nuts.
Little bags of nuts. There you go. Hey, got me a job. You wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for little bags of pistachios. So. But give out little bags of nuts. Now, you're right. Kids won't come back next year, so you don't have to worry about next year. Save your time. Right? Little buggers. Shut the light off, right? Put blackout curtains. Watch TV in your bedroom. But you're contributing to their sickness. Now, they're going to get candy from everywhere else. I understand that. However, I don't want to contribute to that. It's just that simple. But sugar really blows out the immune system. So I'm begging you, with the holidays coming, I want you to think smart. Here's some rules to keep the immune system strong through the holidays. 1, don't go to a party hungry. Because if you're like me, I bet you are, you'll make stupid decisions. Because you're hungry and you love cheesecake and they have little cheesecake bites there and you're going to say, just one. Oh, what's over here? Oh. And you're going to do the whole party, little bites, you're going to blow out the immune system. So my rule is this: I never go to a party hungry. Now, I'm a vegan. I don't eat animal products. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm a little insane. But that's extreme. But I always say, if you knew what I knew, you would do what I do. I promise you. I couldn't eat bad foods because I know what happens when I put them in my body. And I want you to have that same knowledge so that when your cravings come along, you can override them with knowledge. Knowledge is the only thing that can conquer cravings, as far as I'm concerned. Okay? So, don't go to the party hungry. Bring something that you can eat. I always bring hummus, I bring stuffed mushrooms, I've got a bunch of things, and a lot of recipes in my book here. This is my first book. It's called Eating Right for the Health of It. First half of the book tells you how to change your diet, real simple, guide step by step, how to go to parties, breakfast, lunches, dinner, snacks, if you have kids, raising kids. Second half of the book is recipes. You come to my house, I'm going to make dinner, I'm just going to pull out my book and decide on something. The lentils are in here, what you had tonight. Okay? So, bring something. Don't go hungry. Avoid the alcohol. Because the alcohol is going to blow out your immune system. We don't want to do that. And again, it's not just about colds and flu, it's about cancer and heart disease and diabetes. Everything has to do with the immune system. So the decisions you make today will impact tomorrow every single day of your life. So, what I do is I will drink seltzer. Anybody know the difference between seltzer and club soda?
Salt.
Salt, very good. Somebody listens to the show. Salt. Club soda has salt, seltzer doesn't. So I'll take seltzer, put it in a fancy glass if I want to act like I'm cool. Put a little twist of lemon on the side. People think I'm drinking something adult, but it's not. You can bring stevia with you if you want to get nuts. You can bring little packets of stevia, put it in your pocket, sprinkle it in the seltzer. Now it's a little sweeter. Stevia soda is something you can do, but stay away from the alcohol. If you do drink, because I'm a realist, and I know many of you are going, you're right. If you drink, here's the rules. For every alcoholic beverage you have, 3 glasses of water. Because alcohol goes up to your brain, and your brain produces a chemical called vasopressin. Vasopressin is also called antidiuretic hormone. What that means is, right now you're producing vasopressin, and the reason is you don't pee all day. You hold back the urine. When you drink alcohol, the vasopressin production is lowered, and so you pee. That's why you drink 1 beer, you pee out 3. Okay? You're dehydrating yourself. So what do we do about that? Rehydrate yourself. And if you rehydrate yourself, you're going to have a lot less toxic effect of the alcohol. And you'll be peeing all night, so you won't have time to drink as much. There you go. So you got to keep the body hydrated. And the only way to stop the vasopressin reaction is to put more fluid in, so you have more fluid to pee out. And you'll be amazed how much better you feel without a hangover, by the way, 'cause your brain won't shrink. And how much better you're going to do because you're flushing out those toxins. Why do we pee so much when we drink alcohol? You ever think about that? Alcohol destroys what? Brain cells. How many people knew that? How many people forgot that? She forgot it. I mean, but alcohol destroys brain cells. Your brain controls everything. And so as a chiropractor, what I say, my job is to make sure the brain is sending messages down the spine, out the nerves, to every cell in the body. So if you're destroying brain cells, you're stopping the production of those normal nerve impulses at the start. So if you're going to drink alcohol, you've got to rehydrate yourself. Don't destroy the brain cells. I can give you the best chiropractic care in the world and unpinch every nerve in your body, but if your brain ain't working, it's not going to give you the full effect. It's good, it's not great. So alcohol you got to cut out of the system. It's really going to blow out the immune system. The sugar is going to be the key though, and that's the hardest one of all. Because I'm assuming most of you don't drink all day every day. Oh no. I don't know who she is, I promise. But the sugar is something you're going to eat all day, every day. Right? It's cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas.
Sweet tea.
Sweet tea. There you go. Now, you want to drink tea? Add stevia to it.
I gave it up.
Gave it up? Well, that's even better. Okay. Anybody not know what stevia is? Stevia, right? Okay. Okay. Stevia is a sweetener. It comes from a stevia plant. Little tiny leaves, about that big. And it's about 300 times sweeter than sugar. 0 calories. Over 70 minerals in it, vitamins and minerals, and is perfectly safe for diabetics, perfectly safe for children. I use it every single day. As a professional speaker, I use my voice a lot. My voice can get worn out pretty easily. So I drink something called slippery elm tea. Slippery elm tea? Yeah, train's coming. Okay. So what happened? Train's coming. So, slippery elm tea, from somewhere. This is weird. People on the video are going to be watching, what are you talking about? I don't hear no trains. Somebody's phone went off. So, slippery elm tea, you can buy it in tea bags, which is great. You can also buy it in bulk. It's in a powder. Take the powder, just dissolve it in some hot water, and drink it. Excellent for soothing not just your throat, but all your mucous membranes. Your colon is a mucous membrane, your stomach is a mucous membrane, your sinuses. Really a neat little trick. So if you like your tea, and you want to have sweet tea, you can have slippery elm tea with some stevia in it. And now it's actually good for you as opposed to bad for you. Okay, pretty neat. Yes?
What about xylitol? I've heard people-
Xylitol is okay. It's fine. Too much of it will give you diarrhea. Does have a few calories in it. It's fine though, but just use it sparingly because it can really it can upset your digestive system. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Is stevia a white powder?
Stevia is a white powder. Yes.
Unless you grow it.
Unless you grow it, then it's a green leaf. Yeah.
That's great.
And it's good. It's okay for you.
Perfectly fine for you. Yes. I had a patient one time. I actually got some in bulk form, and I handed this little bag of white powder. Yeah. He said, yeah, and I'm going to be pulled over by cops and tell them what? I said, like that, see? That's what it looks like right there. There's a bag of stevia. Hold it up so everybody can see it.
I actually grew it 2 years ago.
Oh, you can
take the leaves off, chew on them.
grows like a weed. You can go, and next spring, go into the garden center of any store, you know, the big box stores. They have it growing. Just take a leaf off and chew on it. You'll go, wow, is that sweet? Yes.
Did you say there were sodas made with stevia?
Yes, there are sodas made with stevia. Yes.
You know
Zevia,
what?
Z-E-V-I-A is one brand name. They carry them. All health food stores, grocery stores carry them. Everybody carries them, and they're really good. So.
Yeah, no, cola's coming out.
Cola, this is funny, yeah, because the big cola manufacturers here in Georgia, years ago, this is a fun story. Years ago, I got a call from one of the major cola manufacturers here, and they said, we want you to come give a lecture. You're the #1 motivational speaker in the world when it comes to health and nutrition. We want you to come speak at our company. And it's a soda manufacturer. And I paused for a second, I said, do you know who I am? Yes, we do. We want you to come. So I went there, and they paid me a nice chunk of change. And I went into research and development, and I had this before stevia was so popular. And I was going to go talk to them about stevia and how you should be making your soda with stevia. And I had the research out and what it does and how it grows. And I went into research and development, and I sat down with one of the fellas, and I said, listen, man, why aren't you guys using something like stevia? Because the toxic artificial sweeteners you're using are killing people. And he said, oh, we know about stevia. We just can't grow enough of it. We don't have enough stevia in the world to meet our needs. But guess what? Now there's some big companies called Truvia and Purevia. Have you heard of them? Yeah. Guess who owns them? Coke and Pepsi. They're the parent companies. So 20 years ago, I was way ahead of my time. As we always are. And so now they're doing it. Now they have, it's Coke Light, I think, which is made with sugar, not high fructose corn syrup, sugar and stevia sweetened together. So the trend is going in that direction, and it will continue to grow. So the things I talked about, if you were at my lectures 20 years ago, you learned things that are now commonplace. The things you're hearing today are going to be commonplace in the future. Don't wait too long. Some of you might not have enough time to wait to make it commonplace. Trust me, it's going to work. So stevia is great, solves the sugar problem. Okay? And if you're hungry, you don't have cravings. Many times when we have cravings, you're not hungry for food, you're hungry for nutrition. And if you give your body enough nutrition, most of those cravings, sugar and things, go away. And I know I'm telling the truth because I used to fill out this skin. Okay? That's how big I used to be. I have stretch marks on my chest, the back of my legs. I used to be fat. And I understood food cravings real well. And so I knew what it was like that I can't eat a cookie. I could eat a box of cookies. But I can't eat a cookie. Because once the sugar kicks into pleasure centers in my brain, bam, all logic goes out the window. Anybody ever do anything stupid in the name of pleasure? Don't raise your hand. So what I decided was if I give my brain enough nutrients, I'm not going to have those cravings. And guess what? It works. So if you can't beat the cravings, at least give your body all the nutrients that it needs to function normally. That's when I came up with something called Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Now we just ran out of this. We should get some in a couple of days. So if you want to get some today, you can call the office in a couple of days. The shipment's supposedly on the way. Check's in the mail. But Essential Source is raw fruits and vegetables in a powder form. About 10 servings of raw fruits and vegetables per scoop. About. Prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and a complete multivitamin. That's this. Most of you who have a bad diet, your body is acidic. The immune system doesn't like acid. The immune system likes the body to be slightly alkaline. So I created something called Dr. Joe's Super Greens. Wheatgrass, barley grass, and alfalfa grass. No gluten. Gluten comes from the berry, not from the grass, from the wheatgrass. Then we add chlorella and spirulina, which is the best form of omega-3 fatty acids in the world, purest form. And then we add dulse, which is seaweed, for iodine. Have we talked about iodine? Almost everybody here is iodine deficient. This gives you the iodine that you need. I take a scoop of this, at least each one at least once a day. Now if I'm going to do lectures, if I'm going on a date, if I'm going hiking, kayaking, I'm going to take a second dose. But right before a radio show, you'll hear me say it on the radio, I always have it sitting in front of me because it keeps my brain working very clearly. And now I don't have sugar cravings in it. It's kind of cool. Another trick you can do for sugar cravings, cinnamon. Cinnamon stabilizes your blood sugar. So if you take a quarter teaspoon or half teaspoon of cinnamon, if you have bad cravings, take it with every meal. And watch how your blood sugar just stabilizes. There's other supplements like Gymnema and other things as well, but cinnamon is a real simple fix. Try to get organic so it's not irradiated. A lot of herbs that we use and spices are zapped with radiation. You don't want that. Okay? So we got to get the bowels moving. We kind of got off track 20 minutes ago on the digestive system. You have to have bacteria in your colon. 70% of your immune system is in your gut. Because think about what you eat. Think about the weird, bizarre things you put in your body, from biting your fingernails to dead animals to food that may have flies on it and bugs in it. So your digestive system, your stomach acid is to break down the proteins, goes into the small intestine where the bacteria take over and fight off the bad guys. And if you've ever done a round of antibiotics, you've killed off the good and the bad bacteria. If you did a lot of antibiotics, you've killed off the bacteria over time, the good bacteria. Where do we get antibiotics from? Well, the drugstore, but where else? Meat, commercial dairy products. Every time you're eating meats or dairy products commercially, you're getting small doses of antibiotics into your body, slowly eating away at the bacteria in your colon, knocking out that 70% of your immune system. It's got to build up the good bacteria, and we do that by not killing them off. Once you stop killing them off, they start to multiply and take over. That's why I put probiotics in the essential source. I also put prebiotics in the essential source. Anybody know what a prebiotic is? It's a big word. Prebiotics feed the bacteria that's already in your colon. Probiotics are the good bacteria in your colon. So I want you to take the good ones in, but I want you to feed the ones that are already there, because they can multiply and make babies, whatever bacteria make, I don't know. And then you can kind of recolonize your whole body. But if you've taken large doses of antibiotics, chances are you have what's called a systemic yeast infection. What the heck is a systemic yeast infection? In your colon, you have yeast along with the bacteria. And the yeast help digest sugar, and the bacteria do their thing. And if you kill off a lot of bacteria, the yeast start to multiply. Antibiotics don't kill yeast, they only kill bacteria. The yeast start to multiply, taking over your colon, and then the yeast go, I'm bored. I want to go on vacation. So they burrow holes into your small intestine, get into your blood system. Now it's in your system, or a systemic yeast infection. And then it settles in places like your lungs. For women, the vagina, the rectum, the mouth, underarms, athlete's foot, jock itch, skin rashes like tinea versicolor. These are all signs you have a systemic yeast infection. And that's putting a major strain on your immune system. Because the immune system is trying to fight off the yeast and the viruses and the germs and the bacteria and the inflammation, and it just can't do it. So here's a little test I want you to try. Go home tonight, get a glass of clear water. Put it next to your bed. When you wake up tomorrow morning, get a mouthful of spit. Spit into the glass. Wait up to an hour. If the spit still floats on the top, you're golden, you're in good shape. If the spit starts to set little strings down, looks like little tentacles from a jellyfish, chances are you have a systemic yeast infection. It is gross. Ew. But if you got it, you got to know it, so you can fight it. And if you do have it, you call the office, I'll put you on a systemic yeast infection protocol to get rid of it. It's tough once it's in the cells. It takes time, but you got to do it. Because again, the immune system can only do so much. And if you keep the immune system strong and don't keep bombarding it with junk, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, sugar, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas. Say that again. And get the yeast infection wiped out, now the immune system can be on guard, fighting off every disease known to man. If you don't, you only have so many warriors, and then you got a problem. So you should be eating a plant-based diet because it has a lot of fiber. Animal products have 0 fiber. And the only way your bowels can move is your colon has to contract to push everything along. When you eat fiber, the fiber causes the colon to get filled up, bulk. When the colon fills up, it fires off what's called stretch receptors. These are types of nerve that when they get stretched too far, they contract. And then the bowels contract and you move things along. If you're eating alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, fiber, nothing to cause the stretch receptors to fire off, and so things just build up in your colon. Killing off the bacteria, 70% of your immune system. So normal bowel function is 2 to 3 times a day. not a week, not a month, a day. Food in should mean food out. If your bowels aren't moving 2 to 3 times a day, that's nature's way of telling you you're not eating nearly enough plants. Eat more plants. If you can't get it going, I got something called Dr. Joe's Intestinal Cleanser. This I don't want you taking for a long time. I want this short term. Take 1, if the bowels aren't moving 2 to 3 times the next day, take 2 the next day. If they're not moving that, take 3 the next day. Here's my rule on this. Don't take more than 3. Trust me. I had a patient take 6 one time. She got mad at me. And there's also certain herbs that you can take to stimulate your immune system and help normalize it. Things like Prebiotics, olive leaf extract, suma root. Now these herbs are great because they help the body produce white blood cells. The problem is you didn't hear a word I said. So what I did was, I created Dr. Joe's Immune Booster. I take this every day in the winter. It has some alcohol in it, so if you're an alcoholic, don't take this. I don't want to stimulate those pleasure centers in the brain. But taking this, I take about 2 or 3 dropperfuls every day in the winter. The reason it helps stimulate my immune system and helps keep me strong. It helps produce more white blood cells. Okay. If by chance I do get sick, and it does happen periodically, I said, what are the best herbs to fight an infection? So I sat down and I said, okay, garlic, ginger, horseradish, cayenne pepper. So I said, I wonder if I could put that in a formula. So I did. I made something called Dr. Joe's Cold and Flu Tonic. Ginger, horseradish, cayenne pepper, onion, and garlic pureed in an apple cider vinegar. It tastes the way it sounds. It's like the strongest, nastiest salad dressing you've ever eaten. The good news is that it works. I have pilots fly with these things. They buy them by the case in the winter. Flight attendants, because when you fly, you get sick. You've taken it? Okay, yeah, works great. Works great. Say it again.
Excellent.
There you go. Because when I fly, I always get sick. So the only downside is you'll stink, because it has garlic and onions in it. But you can take parsley, which has chlorophyll, which helps neutralize the stink. So eat a handful of parsley loaded with vitamin C, also good for your immune system. Okay? So as you said, excellent. If you're getting sick, if you want to maintain health, you have the immune booster. And then the Super Greasy Essential Source I take every single day. I take them regardless, summer, winter, spring, fall. Okay? So now we start to put together a plan for you. Last thing I want to talk about, 2 last things I want to talk about. I try to keep this in an hour, try to keep you in check. Is the digestive system has to be working. Because when you put stuff in your body, the first line of defense is your saliva and then your stomach. Your stomach has acid in it, and acid dissolves proteins. Viruses, germs, and bacteria are proteins. So if you have a healthy, functioning stomach, it's able to kill off a lot of viruses, germs, and bacteria. Most of us don't have a healthy, functioning stomach, and thus this stuff can get into our small intestine, into our blood system. So if you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, chances are your stomach is all spasmed and pushed up against your diaphragm. And in my office, I've been doing this for a long time, about 85% of our patients, when we test them, have this condition. And it's a real simple test. It's called a muscle test. And when we pull the stomach or massage the stomach down away from the diaphragm, digestive system improves, stomach flattens out, immune system health is improved, and it prevents the acid reflux. Acid reflux is very dangerous because acid can get into your esophagus, irritate the cells, and cause things like esophageal cancer. Okay? Not a fun cancer. So, if you have the acid reflux or the heartburn, it could be the stomach out of place. And then chiropractically, if we have a bone pinching a nerve, studies have shown that when we adjust the spine, we stimulate white blood cell activity. So if I'm feeling under the weather, I'll get my spine checked 2, 3, 4 times a day. I don't necessarily get adjusted. I may not need to get adjusted. Adjusted is putting the bones back in place. But I get checked because I have doctors on my staff, and they have to adjust it. So, and I'll get my spine checked constantly just to make sure my immune system is as active as it possibly can be. And then we can fight things off. And another trick you can do is raise your body temperature. If you have a viral infection, you get something called a fever, right? That's how you know it's a virus versus bacteria. With a virus, fever goes up, bacteria doesn't. Viruses are killed off when the temperature goes high. So a trick you can do is raise your body temperature, artificially create a fever essentially, and you'll help kill off the viruses. In my house, I have a steam shower. I had my bathroom redone, and I installed a little steam unit. It wasn't very expensive. And I can seal off my shower and sit in the steam unit, raising my body temperature to kill off the viruses. You can take a hot bath, works just as well. Okay? So raising your body temperature is going to be key. Drink a lot of water, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Super Green's an essential source. A cold and flu tonic if you are sick. Immune booster if you want to keep yourself healthy, and then vitamin D3. Yes?
How much water is a lot of water?
How much is a water? You should be able to pee, and it should be clear. When you pee, it should be clear and shouldn't have any smell to it, shouldn't have anything floating in it. You should be able to read a newspaper through your urine. Don't try that. Okay? But I drink about 8 glasses of water a day. I find that if I drink past 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, if I drink a lot, I end up peeing all night and I can't sleep well, and that helps the immune system too. So I try to cut off my large volume of fluid around 3 o'clock. Okay? All right, time for questions. Go ahead. Your turn. Nothing? Yes?
Okay, I actually have 2.
Okay.
When you were talking about pastas,
Yes.
you know, being bad for you, is that pastas with gluten, or if you remove the gluten, does that take?
Pastas with and without gluten. Non-gluten pastas still have sugar.
Okay.
So if you're going to eat pasta, you shouldn't. But if you do, and I am Italian, I will make a gluten-free pasta. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Now this is going to sound like I'm making a joke, but I'm really serious.
I'll try not to laugh.
Okay. All right. I love my coffee.
I know you love the coffee. Yes.
Now,
You and
I
everybody else.
did quit drinking it all day. I just, in the morning,
Okay.
you know, and I make it half and half with lime. So it's somewhat decaf. I don't know if that's good. Please don't tell me it's not. And I also have to have some milk with it.
Okay.
Okay, but I have 2 cups and that's it. Now, you had you know, if you drink any alcohol, you can drink 3 glasses of water. Is there anything that you can do to kind of compensate?
Yes. What can we do if we love coffee and she's willing to kill somebody if she doesn't get it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's what I heard you say anyway. Yes. And you'll vouch for that? Yes. Okay. Okay. Husband says yes. Okay. If you're going to drink coffee, don't. But if you do, don't. But if you still do,
Okay.
organic decaf. And the reason. Organic? Can we negotiate on organic?
Yeah,
All right.
organic is good.
I'll cut you a deal on organic, okay? I'll negotiate everything with you. That's the nice part. I'm going to negotiate everything because I understand you don't know what I know. So this is brown belt nutrition. Someday you'll go to black belt nutrition. It's a lot of fun up here, I'll tell you. So over here, I should say. Okay, so what we want you to do then, organic coffee, and I want you to make sure that it's filtered. Because when you filter it, you take out some of the junk. French press, not so good. Okay? The reason I say organic is one of the most highly sprayed foods when it comes to pesticides is coffee. So it's not just the coffee, it's the chemicals on the coffee. So organic coffee through a filter. Try to get a filter that doesn't use bleach. Another problem. And I'll negotiate with you. Now, can we negotiate on organic milk? Okay? See how easy this is? I prefer you don't use the milk. You use coconut milk, almond milk, or rice milk, or something like that. But I'll negotiate with you if it's organic milk and organic coffee through a filter.
Okay, does it have to be 100% decaf? Can it be half and half?
If you do half and half, I'll
Organic?
negotiate with you there too.
But as long as it's organic.
Organic is the key.
Oh, good.
Yay! See, I'm not that mean. So, yes.
Any thoughts or suggestions on low bone density?
On low what?
Low bone density?
Low bone density. Yeah, low bone density is usually due to a high acid diet. What happens is you put acid in your body, and that's the 7 deadly sins. And when you put acid in your body has to neutralize the acid. Your body uses calcium as its primary neutralizing agent. Every case of osteoporosis I've ever seen in my life, doing this for decades, people have a high acid diet. I've never seen somebody in a low acid plant-based diet ever have osteoporosis. Ever. Okay? So we can reverse this, which is good. Because what happens is the calcium comes out of the bones, goes into the blood, and it creates something called calcium hydroxyapatite. It doesn't get reabsorbed again. So what we have to do is just go on a low acid diet, and the food you are eating that are low acid are high in calcium and replace the bone density. In most cases. Okay? Yes?
What foods are most acid?
Alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda.
What suggestions can you make for children as far as immune boosting?
Children immune boosting. You got to keep away from sugar.
Okay.
Absolutely. You got to get them on fiber. Now, the super greens, the essential source, work great for kids. You can try shaking it up with some coconut milk. Sometimes they'll drink it that way. If you have to go to extreme measures, not really extreme measures, take a frozen banana, throw it in a food processor, super greens, an essential source, and coconut milk, make a smoothie with them. Give them that, and give them their vitamin D every day as well.
But the tinctures, they can't.
Oh yeah, you do too. Yeah, there's a little bit of alcohol in it, but it's not a problem. I had a 6-year-old drink a whole bottle of the immune booster one time. I figured she's going to be loaded. Nothing. So that was kind of like my way of going, okay, it's okay for kids. I didn't know she drank it. It was on my desk, and she went back, but there was no reaction at all. So, yes.
Could you talk about coconut oil a little bit? I understand it's a medium chain fatty acid.
Coconut oil, right?
And I use it for cooking, and
Good.
I understand it's good for Alzheimer's brain, but it's a saturated fat.
Yes.
So
There's different types of saturation. Anybody, any chemists here? Okay, there's loosely bound, they're called the carbon bonds, and the bonds are very loose in the saturated fats. In coconut oil. In meat, they're very tight, so they're hard to break. That suffices you for your chemistry there. But coconut oil is great. Medium chain fatty acids stimulate the immune system. Make sure it's organic coconut oil. Try to get organic everything if you can. And it's amazing because it's antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. And I heard somebody the other day on TV making fun of something called oil pulling, that it's like voodoo and witchcraft. It's not. And you know what oil pulling is? Take about a teaspoon of coconut oil in your mouth and just swish it around for about 20 minutes. And every time, I was very stupid and had a root canal done once. We screw it in there. And whenever you have that done, you always have a low-grade infection for the rest of your life. It never goes away. Your immune system can't fight it. And that puts a constant strain on the immune system.
No,
So
wait, repeat that.
How far back? High on Dr. Joe?
From the beginning.
Did you say like the root canal?
I have a root canal. Yeah, when they put the little screw in there, and and what happens is they can burrow it out and clean it out, but you have little cannulas, they're called, on either side of where the root is. And when they put the new tooth in, there's anaerobic bacteria, it's called, they don't live on oxygen, in these little canals, and they're constantly creating an infection. So any dentist will tell you when you have a root canal, you always have a low-grade infection for the rest of your life. So, hold on. It's exciting. Going off on a tangent. So every now and then I get a little throbbing up here. So I went to my dentist and said, we can take it out, but that's a big trauma to your body. So whenever I start getting a little throbbing or my gums start hurting or something, I'll take coconut oil, swish it around for about 20 minutes, do it about 4 or 5 days, problem's done. Okay, yes?
Spit it out.
Spit it out, thank you. Yes. And not down your sink because it hardens instantly. So, but coconut oil is great. You can use it on your skin, internally. It's good, as I've heard women say, as they get older, sometimes romance becomes a little less comfortable than it used to be. Try to keep this clean. And coconut oil works great because sometimes you can put estrogen creams. If you put it on into the vagina, it can change the cell wall and change the cell structure. Coconut oil is actually good for you. So it has 1,001 uses. Okay?
How much a day?
2 tablespoons a day would be fine. Okay.
Are there any oils that you should not use?
Anything hydrogenated, what kind of oil shouldn't you eat? Anything hydrogenated, vegetable oil, that general generic term, because vegetable oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-6 fatty acids cause inflammation, back to that whole 20 minutes ago lecture on inflammation. Canola oil, useless information. Grows in Canada very well, so they called it canola, Canadian oil. Useless information.
You shouldn't use it?
Shouldn't use it, no, it's an omega-6 fatty acid, right? So coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil, macadamia nut oil, these are all the good oils.
Sesame.
Sesame's good, yeah. Peanut, I wouldn't use peanut, omega-6. Yes?
Can you go back to the fish oil part of the discussion and like instead of eating fish that might have mercury versus whatever?
Sure.
Is there a particular brand of fish oil that you suggest is better?
Yes and no, okay? What happens is omega-3, omega-3 fatty acids, fish do not produce omega-3 fatty acids. Fish get it from eating smaller fish who eat smaller fish who eat algae. Algae produces the omega-3 fatty acids. Then it goes up the food chain. Fish are the highest up on the food chain. The bigger, fatter the fish, the longer they've been alive, the more chance they had to absorb mercury from the ocean. So, what I suggest is if you're going to do an animal oil, I'd recommend krill oil, way over fish oil. Krill oil is a phospholipid form, much easier to digest. I don't eat animal products, so I eat the algae oil. Okay? So, if you're going to eat a fish oil, you shouldn't, but if you do, make sure it's certified mercury-free.
Doc, what do you think about wheatgrass?
Wheatgrass is excellent.
The other day, someone was telling me, we went to the vegan restaurant on Peachtree Street. This thing's called Urban,
Urban Fix.
and they were saying that they had heard a radio program. They were talking about because cows have a problem digesting. They make it so hard for humans to digest. I'm drinking it. I mean, I'm taking it every day.
I put it in here. It's great. Wheatgrass is very alkalizing to the system. Okay, yes?
You didn't talk at all about apple cider vinegar.
Didn't talk about apple cider vinegar. You are correct, because I only had an hour, but I will talk about it now.
Never mind.
Every day you should be doing about 2 tablespoons of raw organic apple cider vinegar. And the reason is it helps your digestive system produce more digestive enzymes, it alkalizes the system, it's loaded with probiotics, it's loaded with magnesium. It's awesome. The downside, it tastes like raw organic apple cider vinegar. So I use it in salad dressing. Many times in my new book, I recommend you take 2 tablespoons in a big glass of water and drink it when you wake up in the morning. And when you do that, instant energy. You cut out your coffee in a heartbeat.
Does it cause yeast?
Doesn't cause
Does
yeast,
it
no.
produce yeast
No,
or?
doesn't produce yeast. It's fine for folks with yeast infections.
It moves your bowels.
And it moves your bowels, yes.
What was your list of positive things from it?
Positive things, gosh, alkalize the system. If you go on the website, just look up apple cider vinegar. They've got pages and pages of positive things.
You said raw?
Raw organic, yeah. It's about $4. Bragg's is one brand, yeah. Spectrum's another brand, yeah.
You talked about systemic infection and teeny color being like pretty much saying like you do have.
You have yeast infection, yeah.
How do you fight that off? Like what do you do with your patients?
I get you on a lot of digestive enzymes, proteolytic enzymes to break down proteins. I get you on immune stimulators like echinacea, Dr. Joe's immune booster. So we got to get the immune booster up, and we've got to get the digestive enzymes and the bacteria normalized to kill off the yeast.
And you find that out if your spit sinks.
If your spit has little strings on it. But if you call the office, we can put you on a protocol. Yes?
How long does the bottle of apple cider vinegar last?
Apple cider vinegar, I don't know how long it lasts. I think forever.
It doesn't go bad.
I've never seen it go bad. Yes, it's already rotten. I know sour cream is sour, right? Yes.
Doctor,
Yes.
if I make an appointment with you, can I bring all my supplements?
Yes.
And we would talk about this?
Yes, people bring in truckloads of supplements into my office. Most of them you don't need, I'll tell you that right now, okay?
Do you take Medicare?
We take Medicare, we take most major medical insurances. Yes, I think we're the less doctors in the world that take Medicare. I know, everybody's like, oh my gosh, you take Medicare. Yes, because I have nothing else to do but throw money away. No, we take Medicare, car accidents. Folks, if you've ever been in a car accident, you hear me say this on the radio all the time, if you've ever been in a car accident, the car was damaged, you were damaged. Yep. Had a patient come in last week, she goes, I got a car accident, little scratch, no big deal. I said, okay. Came in yesterday. What happened? My neck is killing me, my back is killing me. So what happened? She goes, I don't know. I said, you got a car accident 3 days ago, remember? She goes, yeah, but I didn't feel anything right away. You go into shock. Yeah. With the shock, everything locks down. She came out of shock, she's a mess. So, I don't care if the accident was 50 years ago or yesterday, you got to get to come see us, okay?